for me. Blood in my dog and I can't see. I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be. And niggas trying to take my life away. I put a hole in a nigga for fucking with me.
What's up, guys? Just want to give you an update on the S14, the EcoTec swap. Been doing a lot of work last couple days, and just want to show you guys where we're at. So here's the motor now. Got the wiring harness all nice and tucked. Oscar's been over here a few times the last 2 weeks. I'm getting the wiring all situated and buttoned up for me. Wiring's all hooked up and ran. We took out the Chase Bays harness kit for the fans and got a nice plug to go to the factory GM ECU. And that works just fine. Should be able to control that with HP tuners and turn the temperature up and down. So that'll be nice not to have any extra wiring and stuff in here. I went ahead and made a heat shield for the turbo to keep the heat away from the brake line down there, as well as the fuel lines a little bit and the wiring harness. I had to make a custom bung for the water temp so that the factory gauge cluster will work for the water temp. I also had to relocate the MAF to here. It was over here, and when it was running, once it would get hot and go into closed loop on the tune, it would start bouncing around with the throttle and the airflow. So we thought maybe it was too close to the turbo, so we moved it over here, and now it works much better. Now I'll show you the inside. I went ahead and just threw the factory leather seats back in so I could drive it, and obviously vacuumed it up. This was a huge mess of wiring before. Oscar went ahead and cut everything and shortened it and rerouted it all so it's all clean. Here's the OBD plug that we have to mount. Got the ECU right there. Super happy with how clean and nice this turned out. Air box is back in, glove box is back in and working. The only thing we have left to do on the wiring is a small little harness for the factory gauge cluster. So if you look here, this fuse is completely missing. I don't know where it went. I don't have one. So I went ahead and ordered one of those online, and that pretty much powers all the interior. So until I get that fuse, we can't check the windows, the sunroof, the gauges, the HVAC, the radio. None of that stuff is gonna work. Once we get that extra harness made, we're gonna tie into the fuse box in there for the speedo. Oscar made a little nice harness on the transmission to pick up the AR5 speed sensor. So that's already wired in. We just have to send the signal from the engine bay to the cluster, and the water temp sensor to the cluster. The fuel gauge is already hooked up to the cluster, and we also have a Dakota Digital for the RPM. So we gotta finish that little harness. It's pretty much just all cluster harness that still needs to be wrapped up. We did test fire it already to make sure all the wiring was working. So let's do that again so you guys can see. As you can see, I put all the center console back in, the hydro nice and clean. I had to make a custom shifter for the AR5 transmission. The cluster's just sitting in there for now. I do have the trim, but we have to pull it back out to finish that harness. time this thing's been on the street under its own power in a long time. And this engine really pulls hard. There it is. Runs good, drives good, does donuts good. Just got a little bit more buttoning up to do. Next step is going to be put together the bash bars so I can mount the rest of the body kit, and also get that harness finished up so that my gauge cluster works. And then I can swap out the bucket seat and it'll be ready for the track. I did notice on the test drive that the brakes were soft and the hydro was soft, so obviously I need to re-bleed all the brakes, but it doesn't look like anything's leaking. Just need to bleed them a little bit more. Also have Jessica's car up in the air. That's almost ready to drift. I plan on making a video on that car just to kind of introduce it to the channel and Jessica as well, and we'll go over all the mods and stuff, and that thing's pretty much ready to go. I also do have a bunch of parts for the WTF hatch. That's just what I'm calling it. The park hatch, that might sound a little better. Tell me in the comments, what do you think we should call this caged hatch shell that I pulled out of the bushes at park? Do have a lot of cool stuff that showed up for that, and I do plan on making an update video on that at some point. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you think about the car. I don't know how the test drive is gonna look on video, but it seems like it's going to be really fun to drive. The power band seems really good. My eyeball alignment seems to be good. Everything seems to be operating fine. It's not really getting hot. I just, when I came back, did like 20 donuts in a row to try to burn the residual oil out of the exhaust. So drives good, runs good. Not looking good yet, but I'll take care of that soon. But you guys know the deal. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.